Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for this session number 6 of Cyber Talk. Today we have Miss Wendi Brown from the US, who will have a lecture on smart devices convenience for the public or compromises on the public privacy. As a young captain in the US Army Reserve, Lieutenant Colonel Brown was called up to work at the Pentagon on the Crisis Action Team after September 11. For the outstanding efforts, she received Army Staff Identification Badge and Global War on Terrorism Service Medal. As Major Wendi Brown, she completed 2 consecutive combat tours in Afghanistan, which lasted for 18 long months. For her exceptional efforts in combat, she received the Bronze Star Medal, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Non-Article 5 NATO Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, and NATO Afghanistan Service Medal, ISAF International Security Assistance Force. As a Lieutenant Colonel, she worked at the US Combatant Command Joint Operations Environment to monitor terrorist activities for 51 countries and territories, including Europe, Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, and Israel, to ensure stability throughout NATO and European Union. Also, Lieutenant Colonel Brown completed logistical support to a global NATO communication network contingency operation to ensure computer and internet interoperability among NATO countries in case of terrorist or enemy network attacks against critical infrastructure. Lieutenant Colonel Wendi Brown worked in a joint operations environment to monitor terrorist activities on the African continent. In December 2016, Lieutenant Colonel Brown earned a Master of Science in Cybersecurity, graduating summa cum laude, and educational curriculum coordinated and endorsed by the US Department of Defense. In May 2020, she earned a Master of Science in Cybersecurity with specialization in cyber intelligence, graduating summa cum laude, and educational curriculum coordinated and endorsed by the US National Security Agency and the US Homeland Defense. As mentioned, Ms. Brown lecture will be on smart devices, convenience for the public or compromises to the public's privacy. Ms. Brown, the floor is yours. Thank you once again for joining us and sharing your experience, thought, and knowledge, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
All right, and Tal, thank you for having me here. I first want to disclose that I am not speaking on behalf of any federal agency, any government agency, or any military. This is strictly my opinion, and it's just based off the information that I have researched on open source.
Of course.
So I've been in a number of virtual conferences, and what I don't want to do is just have it one way. I talk and you listen. I'm much of a communicator, so feel free to ask questions or even give your input or ask me my input of what do I think of a particular situation. So let's make this more of an interactive and keep everyone interested and not just a one way, which can get a little consuming. So starting off, I am Lieutenant Colonel Wendi Brown. I'm in the U.S. Army Reserves. Currently, I am overseas in Stuttgart, Germany, but I am moving to my next assignment next week, which will be in Kaiserslautern, Germany. So my education background includes 2 masters. So one is in cybersecurity, which focuses more on technology, and the second one is in cybersecurity with specialization in cyber intelligence. And those 2 are very different. One is very focused on, how do you secure a network? And the other one is, how do you find out information about people, organizations, and then how do they find out information about you? Some things are on open source, some things are on the dark web. So when we say cybersecurity, people just want to group it and loop it all into one category, and it's not. It's several different categories. My interest lies more on the intelligence side. I am not an intelligence officer, but I've had several jobs that included dealing with intel responsibilities. So again, I want to just make sure I make clear that I am not speaking on behalf of the of any government agency, U.S. or abroad, or the military. So let's get to the topic at hand. You know, smart devices. We love them. I love them. I'm sure you love them. We all have them. We're all addicted to them, although we won't admit it. But we are. We love social media. We love, we love our devices. We love our smartphones, our smart cars. Nowadays, people are developing, having appliances where they have a smart home, smart TV. And on all of these devices are things like the webcam, which, by the way, is a device that possibly, and I'm choosing my words carefully, possibly could be hacked by an intruder or possibly government. And I say possibly. And so that makes things a little suspect on, is this really a convenience, or is this a way for good or bad people to spy on us? So one movie I do recommend that people see and not necessarily judge the person is the movie called Snowden. I don't know, Thomas or Eden or even Tal, have any of you seen the movie yet?
Haven't seen it yet, but
on Snowden?
but close enough to the action to understand it.
Okay.
I did see.
You
Really
did, so you know it. Okay.
Yeah,
So so like I said, I'm choosing my words carefully. I would just say, you can watch that movie to see what government is capable of doing. Again, these are not my words, but the movie does a good job in laying things out. So for those of you who have not seen it, let me just talk about it briefly. Most of us know about open source intelligence. So you can go online, Google somebody, see what's in Facebook, what's in Twitter, and what's in LinkedIn. But what this movie showed was that it can hack even into your, text messages. It can hack into things that you don't want to be public. When we're on Facebook, we choose to have things public. LinkedIn, Twitter, we choose to have things public. But there are some social medias where we're having private conversations. At least we think they're private conversations, but they're able to be compromised if the government so chooses, or if you're a person of interest. So let me be careful how I say that. So I just recommend that. That's just a little side note. So getting to the content at hand. So hacking is a form, or hacking is used by the government to surveillance people. This can be seen as intrusive, or it can be seen as a way of national security. We always hear the term national security, and that is a big blanket that covers everything. So if we do say, well, your phone was hacked, well, you just happen to have contact with someone that was of interest, so that's why your information, your private information, has now been compromised. When you have something that's according to national security, it's very hard to fight it. One thing that has changed, especially since 9/11, is the U.S. Patriot Act. And since then, pretty much, if you're a person of interest, your information and your devices can be hacked. But in addition to that, whoever that person talks to, their information can be compromised. Whoever they talk to, their information can be compromised. As you see, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And next thing you know, everybody, I think everyone is 6 degrees of with knowing each other. So next thing you know, everybody's devices can be compromised. And the scary part about it is that you don't know it's being compromised. Okay, I'm looking at Okay, you don't know that it's being compromised. And that's the scary part. I had this conversation with someone. Well, Wendy, we should just stand up to the government, tell them that, you know, they can't infiltrate our information. And I said, well, the problem with that is that you don't know that the government has done it. You don't know. So how are you going to charge somebody for what you see as a crime and you don't know that the crime has been committed? That's what makes it scary. If you knew that your information was being compromised, that's one thing. But if you don't, that's what makes this so scary and makes our privacy so, you know, it's almost becoming a thing of the past. So even on my laptop, I have a a device from a contractor where it covers my webcam when I don't want to be seen. So like this or like that. And believe me, when this is over, I'm going to cover it. Or some people just use tape, you know, masking tape to cover it. I recommend for everyone to do that because your camera can be compromised. You don't even know it. And most people work on their laptops where in their bed, you know, you're busy in your bed, typing a paper or sending a note, doing something. And it's just, you just allow yourself to be exposed. But we love the webcam. Why? Because we can have virtual conferences. I can see all of you. We got Israel, USA, and Germany. Eden, where are you located?
Israel.
Israel. Okay. Yeah, so we got Israel. Look at this. That's what the webcam does. We don't have to fly and go to a conference and meet each other. The webcam is a wonderful device to where we can save money, save costs, where you have 3 different countries interacting live, able to record, and it's very convenient. And then when we when we disconnect, we go back to our daily duties, or in my case, you know, we're going to finish celebrating Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
and we go back to the norm. It's so convenient. So my intent is not so much to say that these devices are bad, but just to point them out to say, you know, where do we go from here? Because it is a benefit, this webcam. And at the same time, it is a security vulnerability, because somebody could be listening and we would never know. And they can record this, so no, we would never know. And that's what makes it a little scary. I will share a story with you. I have a girlfriend whose name I won't mention, but she does work on the finance side with people in Eastern Europe. I won't say specifically what country because I don't want to point it out, but just say Eastern Europe. And she goes, Wendy, I think my phone's been hacked. I think my messages are being read by someone else, or just her social media is compromised. Text messages, not Facebook, look at me, but the tech, you know, the WhatsApp, not, and I'm not specifically speaking on WhatsApp, so I don't want to say that it happened on WhatsApp. I'll just say her text messages. And I said, hold on, where do you go again for your job? And she stated the country. I said, more than likely, you probably are. I mean, that area is a vulnerable area as far as dealing with financial transactions, especially if you're talking millions, maybe even billions of dollars. I said, you probably have. I said, I can't prove it, but just using intel, I can peel away of why is an American, even though it's her job, but why is an American flying to Eastern Europe and talking to these people of wealth and or of power? So when she said that, she was like, oh, okay. I said, just be cognizant of it. But, you know, you probably are, nothing you can do about it. Just be cognizant of it as far as what you state. And then I didn't tell her this, but she may find out if she watches this videotape. I'm thinking, why are they watching me now? Because now I'm talking to her and you know, and she's talking to whomever. So all of this happened even before I watched the movie Snowden, but it made me think, you know, am I on somebody's radar now? And so do you get a little paranoid? I'm not going to say paranoid, just awareness of what's going on. And so then that makes you think twice before what you put in a text message. I have spoken to people that may have said something interesting in a text message that they thought was private, like on Messenger. And I said, you don't say things like that on Messenger. They said, no, this is private. It's just between you and me. I said, no, it's not. Facebook owns this. They own the whole content. And I said, plus anyone can hack it. And the thing is about hacking, it's no longer a, hey, I hacked you. It's I hacked it and they don't even know. And now I can use this against you if you decide to run for public office one day or for any reason, So the thing is that all of these devices or social media platforms that think that things are private, that for sure I know is not. But just even in addition to that, if government, and I say if government so chooses to hack any of your devices, they can. You'll never know, for the most part, unless they want you to know. Send out a notice, hey, someone was under surveillance, you happen to be around them. But then again, it's at their choice and at their leisure. But nowadays, no one's really. The transparency is very limited. So
may I add something with your permission?
yes, go ahead.
You mentioned just, a paper that I've found an hour ago, this morning. You said about the fact that we think that we are private. We tend to believe that our messenger, WhatsApp communication is private. And just this morning, I found an article with this title, Anonymity of Tor Users Demystified. So even though we tend to believe that we are secured and have kind of anonymity in Tor, and it's a paper from 3 years ago, Anonymity of Tor Users Demystified. That's it.
Yeah, very, very good point. It's slowly but surely coming out that there really is no such thing as privacy. Even in some of my social media, they're asking now, can we know your location? Can we access your, camera? I want to say, excuse me, you need to have Googled me and know my background. You can already access my photos, my text, but you already have that. But it's that appearance of I'm giving you authority to infiltrate, my personal information. Another thing too, you look at these devices like let's just take, for example, these virtual assistants. You got Alexa, you have the speakers, Echo, and not them particularly, but just specifically just focusing on the concept of a virtual assistant. You're at someone's house talking. Those virtual assistants look like furniture. I mean, they look like part of the furniture. You don't feel like a mic is up to your mouth and you're broadcasting.
But it is.
It blends right into the furniture. And when I was at a colleague's house one time, I guess she was showing off that she has a virtual assistant. And she's, called out its name and find this for me, find that for me. And, again, she knows my background, so I don't know why she thought I was going to be impressed. But she was like, look what it does. And I almost passed out. And I'm like, how long have you had that? Because I know some of the things I was talking about. And she was like, oh, no, it just researches. I go, no, it doesn't. I didn't know you had one. I would have watched what I was saying, because it can be hacked. And in my opinion, is possibly designed that way for it to be hacked as opposed to wiretapping. Why do you need to get a warrant from a judge to wiretap when you can hack into a virtual assistant device? But how much we love is we're getting to the point we can't type in Google this, Google that. We no longer can type that in. We now could just speak it, and the virtual assistant device will do it for us. Easy, comfort, but we have definitely allowed any state actor or government agency to say, let me see what this person of interest is talking about. And the problem with it is that when you are a person of interest, whoever's around the table or in the room at that time, you're connected to a personal, person of interest. And it just grows and grows. And you think, but that seems like a lot of data. Well, it is. But guess what? That data is being contained. I tell you one thing I did find out within the past 4 years with this, with the, well, soon to be former administration, is that we have 17 intelligence agency. 17, just ponder on that for a second. As a person who does govern, who's been in the government for, X number of years, done military over 20 years, I didn't even know we had 17. And I'm like, 17? You think of the main ones, NSA, CIA, FBI, DIA, then it's a few others, including Homeland Security, and a few others, but 17? 17. So yeah, that data is collaborated, and it's remaining. It's staying on file somewhere. And it just, so when I just watched the movie, then, Snowden, knows that we know about. Exactly. So when I watched the movie of Snowden, I could just put everything in play now. It's like, oh, I get it. Again, I'm not going to judge whether what Snowden did was right or wrong. I just want to talk about just the vulnerability we are under. And we're almost really nothing we can do about it. You do have to be aware of it. Again, I'm not against smart devices because I love them. I have them, the phone, the pad, laptop, webcam, GPS, all of that. And I use it and I'm not going to turn it off, but I am still cognizant of the vulnerability of it being hacked. And so me being government, I'm always thinking, in terms of government hacking for whatever reason. But there's another side to it. It's the retail side. The corporations or these retailers, they want your information too, so that they know how to market to you. So all these cookies, yeah, we could delete cookies. In my opinion, nothing's ever deleted. To me, once it's in cyber or the internet, it's there some form of fashion. And how do we know? We don't know. And that's the key. They can say, hey, it's been removed. How do we know it's been removed? I mean, it's so much vulnerability and compromise going on. How do we really know? And if so, who are we going to tell? Who's going to who's going to do something about it? So these retailers are able to find out where we go on the internet, good or bad. They don't judge. They just need to know what you like so that they can market to you and constantly put up ads where you go, oh, that is, I was just thinking about that. Oh my God, let me just, and the next thing you know, you've gone off and you've purchased it. And then you go back to the website doing what you're doing. So are these smart devices, they are infiltrating our privacy, either government keeping possibly a track record on what's going on with us, or they're even being used from retailers to see how they can constantly sell to us. To where even the 2016 election, and I'm just going to touch on that just briefly because that's a touchy subject, to where they figure out how we would vote and what to do to get people to vote one way as opposed to another. So while I don't have, like I said, the answer, and I'm not even quite sure if there is an answer, I still think there needs to be awareness of what you put out there, the things that you think no one's looking. Most of the time I use Google. There is another internet ISP called DuckDuckGo. I was told they don't trace anything, but I don't know those people. How do I know? How do I know they're not tracing? I don't know. And I don't know the network strong enough to say it, but that's what I've been told. But I've also been told by when I fill out applications to purchase things that they won't sell my email. And do they sell my email? Yes, they sell it because I'm getting spam left and right. So I don't know what the answer is in that case, but I do think it's important to be cognizant of it, because my personal opinion is that privacy is going to be the new phenomenon. Authentic, let me rephrase that. Authentic privacy is going to be a new phenomenon in the technology field if a segment of that industry is willing to move forward on that. Right now, it kind of appears that the big social media platforms have given in to big government. For instance, there was an article maybe a couple of years ago about employees at Google were upset that Google was working with Department of Defense. They were like, no, we didn't join here to be a part of, DOD and push any kind of war agenda or anything like that, or weapon agenda. I came here to do the technology. Not quite sure how that panned out, but I say that in a sense, technologies these days are partnering and have partnered with, Department of Defense. So one could say, your privacy is definitely gone. So if there does become devices or ISP, not saying DuckDuckGo isn't, because it may be, but privacy, I do forecast being the new phenomenon in technology, and whomever can produce that authentic privacy, meaning that it remains unhackable. And I do realize everything is hackable. As a cyber person, I realize everything is hackable, but it starts off not being hackable, and you have to stay on top of your game. So if there is a technology niche that someone wants to really hone in on of privacy, I believe that's going to go through the roof, because people really want it. And I think deep down inside, we feel like we don't have it, but maybe not even to the extent, like I said, some people are on, private text messages, and they don't realize that all of that's traceable. So on that note, that's what I foresee the future, and anyone tapping into that. Now that is going against the grain. So if a special niche is cut out to say, no, we privacy against even government, get ready to get pushback. However, the public at large would love that segment of the industry that really protects the people, not just from national security, but from state actors, from government intervening as well. Again, feel free to chime in and ask me any questions, or give me some ask me my opinion about anything. Definitely open to questions. But one more thing, smart cars. This is my thing about smart car. Let's just suppose, and it's not me, and it's none of you, people sometimes go places they shouldn't be. And the smart car records that. Will the smart car then, will it deter people from going places they shouldn't be, or places where they don't want to be traced? If they go visit someone that they shouldn't visit. Oh yeah, I'm talking in code, but you all know what I mean. Visiting.
A vehicle, an autonomous vehicle might be called to testify in a trial.
Exactly, because that's not just about disabling a GPS if it's able to track. Yeah, that's probably the one thing I'm not crazy about is the smart car. I did have one at one time, but then like I said, that was before my cybersecurity, background. But now I think about it, I'm like, I don't know if I quite want that. That's just too much monitoring, where I'm going and what I'm doing. But yes, but on that note, if anyone has any questions or comments for the second half, I'm open to them.
Yeah, first of all, you mentioned DuckDuckGo, and I put on the chat a link to a meme of comparison between Google and DuckDuckGo. and I put it aside to put it in one of my presentation of on privacy for my students. And you are totally right. And you know, you mentioned several aspects of possible data breaches in smart devices and smart home. And I think that it's not only a matter of technology. And you said that we had this kind of a window that cover the webcam, that this is kind of a technological solution for that possible leak of information. But I think it's mainly issue of knowledge and awareness, because if this kind of small window, it's a solution, it's a tech solution, but we need to have the awareness and the knowledge that there is kind of potential leak of information and breach to our private information. So I think we need to teach and to raise the awareness that it's not only matter of technology, that cybersecurity is not only technology, but it's as you started your presentation, your lecture, it's something holistic that relates to technology, but to wide range of topics.
Yes, indeed. I think too, people also need to know the consequences of it. I have been in a class before where it wasn't an age thing, but I will say the youngest person in the room might have been 20, 21. No. He had to be like 22, 23. He didn't have an issue with it. The rest of us, you know, that are up there in age, we were like, we had a huge issue with it. You know, it seemed like those 40 and up had a huge issues. In the 20s were like, hey, I don't have anything to hide. And it wasn't about having anything to hide. It's just that it's none of your business unless I want to make it your business. You don't make
privacy
your business. I make it your business. And so part of the challenge is to understanding, letting people, making people understand that, no, you should have privacy. No government or state actor, and I'm saying that on, you know, on good or bad side, should just know 100% or 100% or 90% about you. They should only know about you what you have disclosed. Now, if you committed a crime, different story, got it. But just day to day, and you just happen to be within, you know, 3 or 4 degrees of somebody of personal interest, and your whole information is compromised, or your text messages are compromised, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. And I think that's what sometimes the whistleblowers at these 3-letter agencies, you know, were stating. And kudos to them for doing it, because I know I you know, when you go up against Big Brother, that's a beast. Get ready for, you know, your life to change. Which you're about to say something, Tal?
Yeah, I have a question. You said that there are, well, two kinds of those who collect information about us, the users. On one hand, it's the commercial, like Facebook, Google that you mentioned. And on the other hand, governmental agencies, as you mentioned, there are 17. And my question, well, it's a question that I was asked 2 days ago by one of my students, and we elaborated it. Is it actually possible or even relevant to limit the power of either the governmental agencies or commercial collectors like Google and Facebook? Is it relevant, or is it possible to limit the ability of information gathering and information collection by those two segments, and B, whether it's possible to limit the possibility of usage with the information that they already collected. So there are different types. Can we limit the ability of information that is being collected? Well, I know that there is no more anonymity, but at least some privacy. As you said, it's none of your business. Where am I? There is no anonymity, but some privacy. So my question is, can we limit the ability of collecting information that may harm our privacy? And B, can we monitor the process of information gathering? And where there was a verdict in Germany a few years ago of a local court that ordered WhatsApp not to deliver private information on WhatsApp users to Facebook, and including fines on Facebook. And my question is, can we monitor? Can we actually, bless you, can we actually know that Facebook will apply, bless you, actually know that Facebook will apply and will not collect information that they do not need, and when there is a need to delete information, they will delete it? How much can we have? It's not a control, but kind of ability to know what's going on there without private information.
Sure. So, in Europe, they have the GDPR, and that is a way of just letting companies know, hey, you could only collect so much and you need to disclose, what you're going to do with this information. Because of my education background, I'm suspect of everything. I'm still a firm believer. Once it hits that internet, that cyber, it's out there in some form or fashion. So let me just answer both of your questions. Can you limit the ability to have access to this information? I think from a political standpoint, yes. You'll get a senator or a congressman or woman to say, we're going to limit this and we're going to make it policy. The government goes, yeah. And then you tell the public and see constituents, I made sure government only has limited ability to collect information. Everybody's, hey, this reelect, got it. And then to answer your second question, can you limit the usage? Yes, you can write a policy. You could only use it for, this reason, that reason. You can't use it for just unlimited reason. Yay, we love that politician. Yay, they're for us. They protect the people. Yeah, let's reelect. and then everybody goes back, okay, I'm protected. Congressman or congresswoman so-and-so protected me. Then there's the reality. And that's why I say, watch the movie Snowden.
Yeah.
The challenge is, even if they go beyond whatever limit is set, how can you prove it?
That's what I asked.
Yeah, how can you? And the thing is, you can't. I don't have access to prove whether government's coming, is in my, in my ISP.
Don't have the equipment. Don't have the equipment.
Don't have the equipment, don't have the depth. And the thing is, I would need to be able to do that without them knowing that I'm doing it. Because if you start spying on the spy, you better be ready for pushback. That's a whole different beast. I'm tough,
No doubt.
I ain't that tough.
May I interject briefly?
Yes, please.
May I interject briefly? Yeah, we have a current situation right here, right outside the nation's capital, where a local school district just got hijacked under ransomware with all this remote learning that we're going through right now.
Ooh.
A whole school system right now had to shut down operations in the last 48 hours completely. Schools canceled with something like that. And some state actor, somebody somewhere, has grabbed up all this data of not only the organization, but its staff, its students, all of the people that are part of its purview are now held hostage. And my thought is, we gotta lift up and pray for these stuff, because right now, I mean, what will happen post Thanksgiving for these kids if they can't get this stuff straight before Monday? It's a mess. And the law has not, cyber law is nowhere near, the cyber law is not caught up with the technologists who have evil intent. It's never gonna, there's always gonna be a push and pull with that. And you just have to do the best you can to try to keep up and stay ahead of those that want to do nefarious things.
Wow, I have to research that. I did not hear about that. But yeah, the vulnerability, it is there. And then actually having true cybersecurity, like a secure network, which is a whole nother story, is a challenge within itself, because do people want to pay for it? Do companies want to pay for it? Does government want to pay for it? But like I said, that's a whole different topic that I don't want to get into right here. But I just think the thing is, you know, being able to do remote, that's okay. That's that's the best thing since, because we have COVID. So we're doing what we have to do. And then, so convenience for the public, but next thing you know, you get compromised. Like you said, with the malware.
Big data still at work.
Or ransomware. And so now, what was so good, what was being used for our good, is now, we're being hostage to it. We're held hostage to it for, for negative reasons.
I think once again, it's come to the point that when you speak about ransomware, of the knowledge, the empowerment, and the awareness of the end user, because in most cases, and please correct me if I'm wrong, ransomware is something that spread because someone pressed the button or pushed the link or entered the link or did something to trigger and to take this genie out of his bottle. So
not necessarily so.
Pardon?
I say not necessarily so. I mean, because you have people that are active and passive type of attacks, and how they use that information. And so, I mean, you can do all that you want, but somebody who has creative and technologically savvy can figure something out to work around whatever you try to work around. This is a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and the question is, how can we handle with what you described as the malicious cycle?
Well, let me just say this. I do think it's possible. It's going to take somebody with a lot of guts if they want to get into privacy. I think it's going to be an expensive industry. However, whoever's first or second at it, they're going to really, they'll be the Google or the Facebook of privacy, internet usage, or so to speak, or privacy smart devices. Right now, it appears, we're not quite there. People promise it, but they're not necessarily delivering it. And they may not even be motivated to deliver it. And sometimes competition does, motivate folks. But when our current market, and it is pretty saturated, but when it gets even more saturated and somebody's ready to, break above the rank and go higher, I believe it's going to be, hey, we're going to create a privacy device that, government, retailers, data scientists, or hackers, can't get to. And who's ever really first or second in that industry, I mean, the sky's the limit on that, because that's what people are looking for. Right now, we want it, but we can't get it. And no one's really offering it, even though they say they're offering it. So we just take what we can get. But I do believe, there's some kid, I'm saying kid, because a lot of times things start with the youth. Somebody in the garage right now trying to figure out a way, how do we do privacy? How do we do authentic privacy and build it? And actually, and then make sure that it becomes even globalized. whoever's going to do that, they may give Jeff Bezos a run for his money as far as richest man or person in the world, because privacy at this point is priceless. I know we're kind of winding down, so just in a nutshell, just want to just sum up in a sense, like our webcam, our secure text messages, even from what I understand, Gmail, they have access to all of that. You think it's private. Gmail, virtual assistant devices, these smart speakers, like Amazon Echo, devices and smart houses. They are convenient. I'm not against all of them. Like I said, I have some of them, but you just have to keep in mind that nothing is 100% as far as privacy. Right now, things are hackable, whether it be for government, whether it be for retailers, or whether it be for state actors. And right now, it's nothing we can really do about it. We can still complain to our politician, and they're going to do what's right on paper. So they can say, I've done this and I've implemented that. Reality is, who's checking to make sure that that's done, and who has the skill set and the technology to make sure that's done? Nobody. So then how do you know? You don't. We're using a strategy called hope, which is not a strategy, but we're using a strategy called
keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. Just a few years ago, OPM had been hacked, and right now, I'm to the point I know my information's out there. Did get a letter saying, "Hey, we'll watch your your credit count, your credit report." I'm like, that's it. So if it got hacked by the Chinese, it's out there. It's out there, and it's not a whole lot I can do about it. Here I am, my information is with the most powerful, government or in the world, and it got hacked. I'm thinking, hey, if I'm connected to the US, I'm safe and secure. My information is, but it wasn't. So in a nutshell, like I said, I think the next niche, and hopefully this happens rather sooner than later, someone chimes in on the privacy. Hopefully there's someone working in their garage right now. I always vision the Google story, the two guys in the garage and trying to figure out how to do things. I hope that is happening now, because they will surpass all these other technologies that are hackable. But that's what we need. That's really what we need. My faith isn't so much in what's going on right now. I don't care what document, I don't care what question, a social media asks. We won't sell anything. I'm not buying it. Yeah, I go along with it, but I'm not buying it. I am looking for innovation. I'm looking for new innovation. I think that's the only thing that can really save us right now as far as privacy. So hopefully somebody is working that to where our privacy is actually protected. And then at that point, that may trigger a competition to where the current folks then go, well, maybe we should really protect the privacy, even though they should have been doing it all along. But that's how competition is. Competition drives innovation. So that's really my that's my stance on that. And again, just letting you know, I don't believe anything is 100% secure. Some may be more secure than others, but nothing is 100%. Things that are being hacked, you don't know they're being hacked. If I was having an inappropriate conversation and somebody has a virtual assistant device, I don't know when that device is being hacked or not. And certain things now, especially what I said, the US, the USA Patriot Act, all of this is relatively legal to infiltrate, through smart devices, and nothing's going to happen. But again, like I said, The only way you can charge somebody is if you know the crime has happened. If you don't know, you can't complain about it. So hopefully we got some ambitious innovation folks out there that are going to have privacy, true, authentic privacy as smart devices. Smart and I do it here, and I just want to piggyback on this right quick. I know we're down to 5 minutes. I hear all the time, well, Apple can't get hacked. Well, I'm not going to say this because I know this is a public open forum, but you may want to research that if you think their devices can't get hacked. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah, you might want to research that. And like I said, hopefully we have some ambitious people or group of people out there that will have authentic privacy for smart devices and ISP services.
If I have, may I have a short
Sure.
question? Thank you. Well, it's a short question, but a long topic. How do you see the future of privacy? Well, we just said that there is no more anonymity, but at least some privacy. And I told him, I said to my student more than once that I think that there is no one on earth that her data were not being leaked because, as you mentioned, there are hundreds of thousands and thousands of events of leaked of millions of and tens of millions of records. So, how do you see the privacy of us? The term privacy in the next 1, 3, next year, next 3, 5, 10 years?
So what we have is called perceived privacy. It's perceived. It's perceived privacy, meaning that we have rules, that we have, regulations, like I said, the GDPR for Europe. We may or may not have certain things, like I said, in the US, but it's just perceived privacy. And it's going to stay that way until the Google type entrepreneur innovator or Steve Jobs type innovator creates smart devices, or maybe a chip that can go into a smart device that has
chipset.
Authentic privacy. So maybe a chip can be implemented, or maybe just a line of smart devices in general, but it offers 100% or 100%, privacy. That group would be going against the grain, so they'll get pushback. However, if they can accomplish that, you talk about our first trillionaire or first trillionaire group, everyone would flock to it. Everyone would. And then it'll cause the normal technology, the usual technology giants to then, well, maybe we should create a chip. Well, you knew that before, but you chose not to for, capitalistic reasons maybe, or you like being in good terms with the government, got it. But basically the people, us, were sold out. And so it took this one particular group to say, no, let's really do privacy. And let's create this chip that can fit into any Android and or iPhone and or any other type of, platform. And
then you offer my licensing agreement.
There you go. And just make sure that it can't. Let me tell you, that will be revolutionary. But somebody's got to be thinking it. If not, I hope so soon, because the lack of privacy is out of control, and it's all perceived privacy. I don't care what policy, all of it's perceived, because none of it is really designed. These technologies, these smart devices, none of it's really designed for our privacy. Privacy is an afterthought. They're busy saying, look how great it is. Look at this, look at that. It's so easy. You no longer have to type Google, just say find, a virtual assistant, look up, Tal Pavel. No longer want to type, Tal, his name. So these are conveniences. And one last note, because I don't want to get off in the conspiracy. Some people, I actually have colleagues that believe that these convenient smart devices were created for government to infiltrate our lives without infiltrating our lives, face to face. That's a whole nother topic. And I don't like to do conspiracy theorists, but I do want to plant that seed because one could say, well, how can this smart device be good or bad? Well, it depends on the intent, but think about it. You no longer have to get warrants. You no longer have to get wiretaps. You no longer have to wake up a judge at night and say, can you sign this so we can, do X, Y, Z? All you gotta do is tap in. So was it created for that? I don't know. Don't want to start a conspiracy, but slightly just plant that seed a little bit to say,
Perhaps.
kind of the irony is,
Perhaps.
I have all these devices that make my life so easy, but also makes it to where it's easy to find out things about me if you know how to hack into the platforms that I'm associated with.
Indeed.
And on that note.
Yeah. Thank you. Do we have any question, Ms. Brown? Okay. So thank you very much for joining us for this very interesting topic and conversation and lecture. Thank you very much and for your time. And we will glad to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you once again. And happy Thanksgiving Day.
All right.
Happy
Thank you so
Thanksgiving.
much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And stay safe and healthy, of course.
Yes.
Wherever
Yes.
you are, that's the most important. Stay safe and healthy.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very
All right.
much, Joseline.
Take care, everyone. Thank
Have a
you
great
for your
one now.
time.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye now.